What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel here from the GeekSpeakNation channel, and I'm here to bring you my review of Captain America: Civil War. So, my review of Captain America: Civil War has been long overdue. I apologize, but because the movie has been out for a while, I will be doing a spoiler review that will be going up simultaneously with this regular review. So look for that after you've seen the film or after you've watched this video. Watch both, why not? And with that, I do have to preface this review by saying I've already seen the movie 3 times. So, got my ideas and how I feel about the film pretty compact and pretty well down. I know what you're thinking, Dan, you've seen the movie 3 times, but you haven't reviewed it yet? Yeah, that was my bad. I apologize, but it's coming right now as soon as it cuts to the next part. So, getting into this review, Captain America: Civil War is a follow-up to Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which I do have to say is my second favorite comic book movie of all time, second to The Dark Knight, of course. And what I love about these Captain America films, Captain America: The Civil War and The Winter Soldier, is the direction that is taken by the Russo brothers, the directors of the film. And what they have done is created a very gritty, grounded story for Captain America and his overall arc in taking someone who represented this ideal Americana image and bringing him into a world where that no longer really exists anymore, a world of espionage and where the lines of security and dictatorship or a totalitarian society kind of blur one another when it comes to the world of the concept of world security. And so Captain America's struggle throughout these films has been very interesting for me, and part of the reason why these films have been so excellent. And I do have to say that Captain America: Civil War holds up in being an amazing follow-up to an amazing film. I do have to say that even though there were so many plot points and there are so many characters that it all could have fallen flat, every single character gets a moment to shine, and every single character has just this motivation for actually being in the story that's real and authentic. And I felt everything about the characters going into the film. But at the end of the day, it is still a Captain America movie, and this film acts as a great conclusion to Captain America's arc that's been going on from Captain America: The First Avenger through the 2 Avengers films up to now, and it is a fantastic conclusion to Steve Rogers' arc. Now, getting into the film, I have to go back to my original point of why I was saying I love these movies, and it is the direction by the Russo brothers. These guys know superheroes. These guys know what makes them great. He knows what makes each individual character tick and all their motivations, and they bring it together so well that no character is sidelined. Each character gets their own due justice. They get an emotional beat. They get a cool action beat. The Russo brothers know balance, and they are some really, really expert filmmakers, and I can't wait to see them continuously sharpen their teeth on the next Avengers films, and to see what they do in other genres, because these guys have got it, and I really want to see what else they're capable of. But sticking into the concept of this film, they capture everything so well. They capture the emotional beats, and they know how to cut together the film well and keep momentum going despite so many plot points and despite so many things that could easily go wrong with the story and with the action itself. And speaking of action, guys, the Russo brothers really bring it yet again. One of the things I loved about Captain America: The Winter Soldier was the hand-to-hand combat. And I love the realness and the grittiness that felt like The Raid and The Raid 2, which is my favorite action movie of all time. But it reminded me of those films and trying to be grounded and based in the world and the situations that they're in, and it's really fun and really engaging. This time around, they did have help with the action sequences from the directors of John Wick as their second unit directors, I believe. So that really shows in the film. And when you look at the action, the hand-to-hand combat and the choreography is insane. What they come up with is just truly incredible because they stick to the real world fighting styles and martial arts and things like that, but they really harp in on what each character is capable of. And I think that is obviously exemplified in the climactic battle between the team sequence, which I won't spoil if you haven't seen. But these directors and everyone involved from the cast to the crew really understand their characters to the core and know how to work each of these characters in the scenarios that they're in and apply them in a logical fashion. And I really enjoyed it. Amazing, outstanding direction by the Russo brothers. My hat goes off to these guys. These guys are wonderful. Now, moving into the cast, I do have to say that the cast is large, and I won't be getting to every single character because I want to go more in depth with that with the spoiler review. But I do have to say, focusing on the main two, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, these two go on an emotional journey that by the end of the film left me very satisfied in where they ended up. Looking at where each character started, Iron Man and Iron Man 1, and Captain America and Captain America the First Avenger, and looking to where they've led up to now, has been a very, very powerful and emotional ride to see how the events of all these films have completely changed them. And overall, this is a film about consequences, and essentially the consequences of their actions catch up and they haunt them. In the case of Steve Rogers, he decided to give his life to the military, and he says it in the film that he's been on his own since he was 18 years old. And I think ever since then, he had this dream of being a part of the military, but he never really found his place in society. And once he finally does in the second Avengers movie, I mean, it all falls apart in this one because they want to take away, as he perceives it, his decision to choose with the Sokovia Accords and this agreement that superheroes need checks and balances as stated by the United Nations. And to see this internal struggle and this battle go on for Steve Rogers is really powerful as he tries to save Bucky yet again and to preserve that last bit of humanity that reminds him of who he was before he went under ice. Is very powerful and very captivating, but at the same time, him refusing to change his ideas and change his morals and stick by them no matter what, even though the entire world is against him. So the ending is really powerful, and I will go more into that in my thoughts, specifically into the spoiler review. Now, moving on to Captain America, it really is a 180 turn for Tony Stark because in Iron Man 1, he really did start out as the snarky, arrogant, kind of douchey guy. You're just like, that's Iron Man, never taking things seriously. But over the course of the films, and especially over the course of Civil War, he has truly comprehended the consequences of his actions and the people who's lost their lives because of what he's done and the things that were his fault, Ultron and everything. So seeing a Tony Stark who is world weary but at the same time wants to make amends and has such a heavy and guilty conscience, and seemingly his entire life is falling apart in front of his eyes and his friends are dividing and things like that. It's really, really powerful and emotional to see the journey he goes on, especially at the conclusion of the film. So I'll just leave it at that. And with those two main characters, those main performances drive the entire film, still with the focus being on Captain America, and it's really, really powerful. And I do have to say the interactions with all the other characters are amazing. Specifically, I do have to bring up Black Panther, and I do have to say that one of the things that caught my eye about this film was the diversity. I think this film has the most minority characters in any of the Marvel films, and 40% of the audience members who went to go see Captain America Civil War were African American or Hispanic. And to me, that was really powerful to see Black Panther on screen. I remember the first time I saw this film, it was with my girlfriend, and she was like getting emotional to be able to see this very powerful and influential, one of the most strongest, smartest, wealthiest, intriguing characters on screen and in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe to be a black man was very powerful and very encouraging to me. And it really touched me that they did such a great service to Black Panther and gave him such a great and creative arc. It really meant a lot to me. It really meant a lot. And I think it means a lot to all of us as audience members to see that diversity on film. And it was really, really great. And besides that, every single other character from Scarlet Witch to Black Widow, Vision, everyone gets their due justice. Everyone has a great emotional beat that really sells it for me. And all the interactions make sense. But that's all I'll really get into for the character-wise. Spider-Man was awesome. I'll get into character-wise. But moving into the story. Now, this is where I kind of get into a weak point with the film. It's just early on, I felt like there were some pacing issues with jumping between different locations and jumping between sometimes different periods of time. And even after 3 viewings of the film, certain scenes just feel a little choppy and have a few pace issues. But besides minor pacing issues, I really didn't have much of a problem with the film. I still think Winter Soldier has a more stronger, concrete, and focused story, but I think that only has to do with Civil War has so many different and varied characters, and that's the reason why it's so less focused and has a few pacing issues, and it's just because there's so many characters. And I do have to say that the villain was really interesting to me, that he was a very sympathetic character, but at the same time, he needed more screen time to really develop out his plan and what he really meant. But besides that, I really do think this is a fantastic and wonderful film. And with that, guys, I've got to give Captain America Civil War a 9.5 out of 10. So, have you seen Captain America Civil War? Let me know in the comment sections down below what you think without spoilers. Who is your favorite character, things of that nature. And also, while you're there, hit that like button if you like my review, and subscribe to become a part of the Geek Nation, because we're on our way to 1,000 subscribers, and guys, we're almost there. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, look out for my spoiler review, and don't forget to get geeky.